All right, hello, everybody. Welcome to Wapiti Wednesday for July 30th. Holy cow, guys. We are almost into August, which means season is right here. Who's ready?
I think all of us are ready.
Really? I am
Maybe
not even
not
close.
able, but ready.
Yeah, I'm not even close to ready. So I haven't even been able to get up and check trail cameras since last. So we're gonna have a good probably 6 to 8 weeks soak on those things before I get up to check them. But we know we got a lot of bulls on it. So, okie dokie. You guys ready to jump into this? Shall we do what we came here to do?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody see this okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yes.
tonight, I thought we would talk about learning some skills that, we don't really talk about. We've hit it on it a little bit here and there, but that's about it. And so that is going to be reading elk sign, interpreting tracks, rubs, wallows, because believe it or not, every track, every rub, every wallow tells a story. And if you can read that story correctly, you'll know exactly where to be and when to be there. So, especially wallows, and we'll get into it on down with advancements in technology that definitely helps. But there's different things that you can do to kind of decipher on tracks and some of this stuff to help you time frame when elk are moving through an area so that you can narrow it down and focus on areas of your hunt a little bit more. So, all right, first off, track reading, fresh tracks versus old tracks, and the critical distance difference. Learning how to age tracks accurately is really the difference between hunting elk and where they are and hunting where they used to be. So, fresh tracks, 0 to 6 hours, they're sharp, they're clean, their edges are straight, there's no debris in it. The edges, especially if it's in a little bit softer dirt, will be straight up and down. There won't be anything caving in. As it starts to age, you're going to see that those sharp points on the dirt starts kind of rounding a little bit, and you will get some little dust and debris settling in there. Anything older than a couple of days, you're really going to start getting weathered edges, and you can definitely tell that they are older because they will have, the edges will just be basically sloughed in, going to be filled with all kinds of stuff. Could be leaves, could be a stick, could be who knows what else. So now you do have different factors. Rain, snow, wind can actually make a huge difference on aging the accuracy. One thing that you can always do in your area, if you really want to test it, find a good place, press your boot track down nice and clean, and then take a picture of it right when you did it. Then come back and take a picture in an hour. Then hour two, hour three, hour four, hour five. Take those pictures and watch how your track changes. So that is one way that you can train your brain to recognize how it tracks ages. So, okay. We've touched on this just a little bit, but I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into it. So, do you guys remember?
Yes. In fact, I went back on some of your Wapiti Wednesdays trying to find the printouts to see if I could print old ones out, and I could not. But yes, I remember you talking about sizes of tracks.
But also too, how to tell if it's a bull track or a cow track. Do you guys remember that one? So, if the back track is on the outside of the front track, is that a bull or a cow?
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Think
Yeah.
think about
That's a
think
cow.
about males and females and how our bodies are structured. Take that same approach to elk.
It's a bull.
Nope. If the back
Outside
track
would
is
be
on
a
the
cow.
outside, it means their rear hips are wider than their chest. That's a cow. If the track on top is inside of the top of the front track, then that's a bull because his chest is wider. So the other way you can tell too is bull tracks are typically larger. They're also rounded in the front more, and they actually will make deeper impressions. And you will see that they will spread. One common misconception is that if you see the dew points, that's automatically a bull. That's not always the case. You get a big lead cow. Cows have the dew points also. You get a big lead cow, um, a big lead cow will leave dew points also. Sorry, guys. Larry Gill is blowing up my phone saying the invite disappeared and he's wanting me to send it. So let's stop sharing real quick so we can go take care of Mr. Larry. And I'm fully expecting you guys to totally harass him when he comes in. Let's see. Instead of going that, I am just going.
So when he logs in, why don't you say, so in conclusion,
I would never do that. I've never done that to any of you.
No, never did it to me.
yeah, give your closing remark and
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, man.
Well, now he's going to get really, really confused because I just forwarded him the email. Yes, I get the emails in the mornings also. So he's going to open up the email and it's going to say, Michael, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, here we go. All right. So, cow tracks. They're a little bit smaller. Cow tracks are more pointed on the front. So, but this is where now remember this is not a inclusive catch-all rule. Remember how I talked about that older lead cow that can leave dew points? And that old gal's been around the block a time or two. There's a good chance that her tracks are rounded on the front and deeper, just like a bull. Same thing with some spikes. They're going to be pretty similar to cows because they're still that pointy. The, where's he popping in at? Come on. Oh. Okay, so that's pretty much all we got for tonight. Does anybody have any questions about tracks, rubs, or wallows?
Yeah, just one question about that last comment that you made. Would you clarify that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, by the way, you can thank Jim and Greg for that. So, okay.
well, we never say stuff like that.
Yeah.
No,
So,
no, no.
okay.
Me.
Now, here's the other thing that we haven't gone into. We've talked about track sizes, we've talked about the bull cow, bull track, cow track. But we're going to dive just a little bit deeper in this because you can actually look at the tracks and based on the gait, you can actually it's going to tell you a story, how elk are moving and what's going on. So if it's just a regular walking pattern, even spacing, relaxed, it's the print is even front to back, side to side. They are basically just in their travel corridor. They are moving to their feeding or they are moving to their bedding ground. Nice and relaxed. Trotting pattern, the strides are going to be a little bit longer. So the elk are moving with a purpose, but they're not necessarily alarmed. It could be that maybe they meandered or they're gathering back up, or one of them was, leaving the feeding grounds late, and so they're basically trotting to catch up with the rest of the herd. So running pattern, scattered deep prints, you'll see dirt kicked up, you'll see pine needles kicked up. Basically, they're spooked. They're going. Here's a little trick. If you come across a running pattern like that and you establish that it's fresh, how many of you have ever thought about following those tracks and doing a lost excited meal?
I thought about following
Oh man, I just saw a lot of light bulbs go off on the head of holy crap.
I have followed them.
Yeah.
But have you ever sat there and started blasting out lost excited muse? Where are you? Where is everybody? Hit regathering muse. Man, all of a sudden you
them.
start breaking into that inviting cow routine where is everybody? Come here.
That would
Everybody
work
come
too.
back. Where did you go?
Yeah, that would work. I've had that. Yeah.
I'm still learning all those.
It's okay, Kurt. I am too. So I'm gonna figure it out one of these days. So okay. Now, how about if you guys are following a fresh set of tracks, they're in their walking pattern, and then all of a sudden they just suddenly stop or they just start circling.
We're looking for bedding.
Looking for bedding. Yep.
Yep. What you'll get in this a lot too is going to be a combination of the circle and the wandering meandering, because not only are they looking for bed, but they're getting some last feeding opportunities in before they bed down. So if you find where it goes from that even spacing walking to this wandering meandering, they're not far away. They are probably within 100 to 200 yards of you, and that would be a great time, depending on the time of the morning, if the thermals are good, would be a great time to set up and do a calling sequence. Okay. So now tracks just don't live by themselves. There's also supporting clues that go with it. So the droppings, we've talked about, elk droppings where they're green when they're fresh. They start turning a little bit brown on the outside, but if you squish them and they're still green on the inside, that's still just a few hours old. If they're completely brown and don't squish very hard, that's a little bit older. If they're black, that's from last year sometime. So you can also find disturbed vegetation. You can see tracks through tall grasses. You can also find trails. You can find depressions through trees. So you can also too, based on terrain features and with the tracks that you're seeing, you can a lot of times take a look at onX and see the direction of travel. And especially if it's a new area, you can take that information and go, okay, we've got a direction of travel based on terrain, based on what I know about bedding grounds. They're probably heading here. Then once you have that, then you look for the next thing, which is the water proximity. Then you have the triangle. You have their route going in, you have their beds, you have their water. Now all of a sudden, then you can basically sit there and go, okay, now I know where they're at. I know where they're bedded. I know where they're going to get water during midday. I know what the thermals are doing. This is where I need to set up in order to maximize this. So time of day indicators. Remember, morning tracks typically head uphill because remember, morning thermals are coming downhill, so those tracks are heading uphill because thermals are in their nose. Okay. Any questions on tracks? How many of you are going to go out and put a footprint in the garden and watch it over the next couple of days?
I think it's a good
Yeah.
idea.
What's that, Greg?
I think it's a good idea, just for a kind of a lab experiment.
And the other thing you can do too is when you're out there hunting, if you're going back into an area that you knew you were there 3 days earlier, it's like, okay,
The blueprint.
yeah, go find my boot print. Take a look at it. Because the other thing too that's going to help you is if you're hunting public ground with other hunters, you're going to see another footprint, obviously, but then you're going to be able to know how old that footprint is. Man, it's been 2 days since somebody's been in here. Or, ooh, they were just in here yesterday. Okay. One last thing on tracks. If you're having a difficult time of establishing time frame that an elk is going through an area, find a very well used trail and stick a couple of your tracks, put a couple of your boot tracks right in the trail. Log the time that you did that. Now this, within the next 24 hours, you're going to have to come back and you're going to have to check those tracks. Now you could go by that spot on your way to hunt someplace else or hit it on the way back. But what that's going to do is if there's tracks on top of yours, you are going to establish a window of when those elk are moving through that area. See, there you go, Jim. You don't need stinking trail cameras. You can do it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, old-fashioned way.
Yeah. I want you to put on moccasins, though, when you do this, if you're really going to do this old-fashioned tracking technique.
You got it.
Authentic, hand-stitched
You got it.
moccasins.
Yeah, get that. Got
But I
it.
don't think you have access to any of those down there where you live.
No, probably
No.
not.
Okay, perfect. So, okay.
So what about urine?
So, I mean, it's one of those things that you can subsurface smell it for like the first 2 to 3 hours. After that, you've kind of got to scratch the dirt a little bit to get it to pop up. Unless it's a place that they hit day after day after day, then that smell is going to be a little bit stronger. We used to have areas like that in Idaho before the wolves were reintroduced, but once the wolves got reintroduced, they stopped going to the same bedding areas. They have multiple bedding areas now. And normally they're on a 3 to 5 day rotation of where they go. So everybody knows how the difference on a bed to tell if it's a bull bed or a cow bed, right? If the pea is in the middle,
Oh, yeah.
bull. If a pea's on the edge,
Yeah.
cow. Okay. All right. Rub analysis, fresh rubs versus old rubs. So, the fresh rubs basically means there's a bull actively using the area. An old rub could just be showing that he was in there last year. Or you can get into, when we've talked about this in running areas where you can actually have generational rubs. This year's, last year's, the year before that, it just keeps going on down the line just because they basically come back year after year after year into the same rutting areas. You will also find the same thing with rubs in bachelor groups areas. Same thing year after year after year. So, okay. So the way to tell fresh rubs, your wood is usually very, very bright, and you will see a little bit of wetness to that exposed rub. Depending on the type of tree it is, you may be able to actually smell that tree too, whether it's a pine, a cedar. Aspens do have a little bit of smell to them, birch trees. So you can get that smell. Now, as it starts aging, the wood will go from bright and start to gray, or basically fading a little bit. The other thing too is you can do a sniff check of the rub. So because, bulls have that occipital gland right in front of their eyes that they'll open up, and they will actually put their scent on these rubs, especially if it is a territorial rub, and we'll get into that just down a little bit. So now multiple year rubs, they can actually go back into areas and they can actually rub the same tree year after year after year after year. You get something that's 6 to 8 inches in diameter, lot of times we see, like Greg, for example, that one tree that you sent me that's, 2-inch caliper tree, that thing, it ain't got a branch left on it. That thing's
Yeah.
just going to be a dead, useless thing the following year. Well, wait, that picture was from 21. So, yeah, that thing probably is a good dead dry and probably snapped off by now.
Yeah, but it was fresh. It was a
Yeah, and
fresh.
you could tell because how bright that was.
Yeah.
So the other thing too is you can also find hair in it. So those are pretty good indications that those things, because as they weather, especially if rain or anything like that comes in, it'll knock that hair off of there. So okay, tree species preference is actually going to vary from area to area. It's really what's going to be available. And I've got, well, let's see, right here on the wall, I've got one that's red. I've got one that's brown. I've got one that's green, just because of different one's pine, one's a birch, one's an aspen. So, they rake on different things, and that's what gives different colors to the antlers. So now there's an old wives' tale that the rubbing on bigger diameter trees means bigger bulls. Not necessarily. It could be just a spindly raghorn in your area, but he's a herd bull for that area. He's got cows. He's rubbing on that big old tree just because he's the Mac Daddy now, and it could be an area that is a seasonal rutting area, and so he might be a 3-year-old bull, and he's used to he remembers smelling scent on that tree. The biggest way to tell the size of a bull is two indicators. One is how high up on that tree the back tines are making tick marks and rubs, and also two, the width. If there's a tree in the middle, but he's also rubbing trees on the side, or he's rubbing a tree on the back, that'll give you an indication of antler width and also main beam length. So now the tree location, edge trees, isolated trees, prominent landmark trees, what those are basically talking about is what we're going to get into next is rub lines and patterns. So because these, just like tracks tell a story, rubs tell a story also. So single rubs are interesting, but rub lines actually give you a direction of travel, which is great because that direction of travel. So if you've got tracks heading a direction, then all of a sudden you start seeing rubs heading in that same direction. You can sit there and just look up a ways and you see rub, 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 rub. It's like, okay, we've got a herd of elk. Tracks are telling us that there's a herd of elk heading this way, but what that rub line tells me that there was a bull in the group. If it's early in the season, good chance that he's still with the group and that they're heading that direction. You can follow that rub line, you can follow those tracks, and then remember when we get to where the tracks start meandering around, what do you think is going to happen with those rubs?
Oh,
Those rubs are going to get sporadic too
yeah,
around
yeah,
that bedding area. So the tracks and the rubs are giving you travel corridors and leading you right to bedding areas. So now, rubs near meadows, that kind of stuff. You will find a lot of rubs near wallows also. The ones near wallows and the ones near bedding areas are territorial type rubs. That's a dominant bull that is basically claiming his territory and letting everybody know this is my home, this is my area. The travel is usually a bull kind of doing the same thing, But unfortunately, travel corridors, you can have more than one group that comes through. And so you can have more than one bull that hits those rubs on those travel corridors. And then it turns into a really interesting and fun because if you get two pretty good dominant bulls and they start competing with each other, some of those trees will get thrashed and torn in half, and it gets entertaining when the agitation level raises up a little bit. Okay, we kind of talked on this a little bit about the marks, the tine gouges, antler width, that kind of stuff. You can also tell fighting damage too. If you've got tine marks going in and it's not a nice clean, maybe now all of a sudden it's jagged or split, that's a good indication that that bull has a broken tine. It could be that it's a big mark that you're seeing. Man, he broke off part of his main beam. So again, all these things tell you a story about what's in your area. So, have you guys ever identified a specific bull in your area by maybe a signature rub?
No.
No, not I.
The way we've done it is on height. So, for those of you that haven't met me in person, I'm 6'2", and we've got a bull that I would grab the bottom cam of my bow and extend my arm all the way up, and my top cam would be hitting where his back tines are ticking on the tree, and his main rub point is down by my knees. He was a big boy. He was a smarter boy too. So he and I, that is Nemesis. So
Yep.
I was never able to harvest Nemesis. The closest I ever got him was 4.5 yards with a bush right in between us that perfectly blocked his vitals.
Hmm.
So, Nemesis and I had numerous screaming fits with each other, sometimes 15 yards apart, just with buckbrush or something in between us. So I had a love-hate relationship with that bull. I loved hearing that he made it through each year, but I also hated the fact because I knew I was going to focus on that son of a gun, and we were going to have some pretty good chess matches. And I am not too proud to say that that is one bull that got the best of me for probably 6 years straight. So, and then I would get mad at him, and season would be getting close to ending, and I would just have to go take my frustration out on another bull, and then give him the middle finger wave as I took the last load off the mountain and hollered, "See you next year." But that's kind of one of the things that you hunt the area year after year. You get to know the elk. I mean, we gave them names. We had Growler. Well, now this new area, shoot, we've got Growler, Whistler. Well, actually, Growler's dead, so took him out of the gene pool last year. Whistler is still there. Perfect Six is still there. This is what we're seeing on trail cameras that's coming back. I have not seen Caribou yet. I don't know if he made it through. He's a bull that has a very unique top. He has these C's that curl forward, kind of like a caribou's antlers does before they start breaking back. He was unique last year, so I'm hoping he's still around. So, okay, wallows. We have talked on wallows before. So, does anybody need a refresher on wallows? Do you guys remember things that we talked? How to tell a difference between an active wallow and an abandoned wallow?
Cloudy or clear.
Yep.
Yep, cloudy or clear. Also, too, the mud from the wallow thrown up on vegetation around it. If it's still dark brown, wet, it's not completely dried out, still an active wallow, still kind of hitting those. If you can smell them, so those are all good points. So Now, but let's talk about wallow timing and peak usage because I don't think we've talked about that one before. So pre-rut wallowing, bulls preparing for the breeding season. This is kind of when they're establishing their pecking order. It is hot. They are a little bit more active, so they will use wallows to cool their body temperatures down. So peak rut activity, that's usually when most of the intense wallow use is, which, that's kind of the middle of September, that autumn equinox time frame. That's basically just because they're using that not only to cool themselves down, but also to put some sweet smelling cologne on to attract those ladies. We've all smelled it. It's a wonderful smell that you definitely know when it's there. So, now I think last time we kind of asked this, but have any of you ever spent time hunting wallows? I think Greg, you guys have.
Yeah, I have to.
Yes, we have.
Anybody have
No, I don't. I have not.
anybody have success?
No, I haven't.
Sandy, you sat on a wallow last year, didn't you? The last day?
Yeah, I did on the last day, but I was having real issues with wind swirling in the area. So it'd be good for half an hour, and then the wind would change, and I'd move to somewhere else on the other side, and then the wind would change again.
Yeah. Sometimes, a lot of times, depending on where the wallow is, that's why the wallow is there, is because of that swirling winds. They feel extremely safe in there. So, because they can just go in there and they can just wallow around in that wallow and basically catch scent from all around them. So, now, there actually is a hierarchy when it comes to wallows. So dominant bulls will actually go in. They will be the ones that will spend a lot of time laying in the wallow. If you've ever seen a complete body impression on the side of the wallow in the mud, there's a good chance that's the dominant bull. Younger bulls, they'll kind of get in and get out. They don't spend a lot of time in there because it's like they don't want dad to catch them playing in their room. So they still want to get in, they still want to participate in it, but they also know too that if the dominant bull catches them in there, it's not going to be good. So you can actually now have a scenario where if you have a pretty good sized herd that has multiple bulls in it, the multiple bulls can actually share the wallow. There's still going to be one dominant bull that's going to have the extended wallowing times, but he's going to tolerate the other bulls using that wallow because he's around those bulls all the time. He's not going to tolerate a completely strange bull that he has no clue coming in and doing everything, but he will tolerate some of those guys. Now, what's interesting too is the cows can actually influence how a bull uses the wallow. So if she kind of feels like she's starting to come into estrus, it's starting to get close, but he's not catching the clues. She can actually go up, lick him, nudge him. She can fake mount him that basically kind of gets him riled up a little bit to where now he's more attentive to what's going on. He's more attentive to the pheromones, and he can actually increase his wallow usage at that time because now it's like, okay, the dance is on. I got to go get ready for this dance. I got to go get prepared. Okay. Wallow setup and hunting strategies. Wind consideration and thermals are the most effective thing because they're the toughest because elk are going to approach that wallow with the thermals in their nose. So you have to position yourself to where your scent is not blowing down that trail or up that trail. And this is where being off the sides is your best bet. If you're in an area that swirls, man, try to do 10 different puffs on a wind checker. Try to find that there's going to be one prominent, but it's still going to be a crapshoot. The other thing too is you want to make sure you get into position without stepping or contaminating the approach trail. You don't ever want to walk down that trail because, believe it or not, our boots do leave scent. Dead skin cells fall off. We leave scent everywhere we're walking. So don't contaminate that. Make sure if you need to, cut some shooting lanes out, trim some branches, trim some willows, whatever you need to do. And maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe you need to get on the back side of the willows to really shield yourself, but you need to cut a shooting lane through there. And then the other thing, patience. I don't have the patience for it, but if you do, I know a lot of people that have taken elk on wallows. I just can't do it. So, okay, questions on wallows? We're just rolling right along. What else do we got?
If you have multiple puddles or multiple different wallows down through a spring,
Uh-huh.
are different bulls going to focus on the different pools, or is it kind of just crapshoot which one they choose?
No, they could. It's it's that you have a dominant bull, per wallow, depending on how far apart they are. So there's going to be one prominent wallow with the others kind of being secondary wallows. It's a good chance that that primary wallow is going to be your dominant bull, and your secondary wallows are going to be your subordinate bulls.
Fair enough.
Okay. So connecting the dots, reading sign patterns. So, connecting multiple types of the sign reveals a complete elk behavior pattern, like we were talking about with the tracks, the rub lines. Rub lines turn into, and tracks turn into bedding. But then by bedding, then we have tracks coming from the bedding towards water. But oh crap, then there by the water, then we found wallow. So based on all these signs right here, man, you can decipher between all of that, and you can set yourself up on the best places you need to be to intercept those elk, to maximize the time you have to working those bulls, to working those elk. The other nice thing too is that information is telling you the pattern and the direction that they're coming in. So now you can look at your map and go, okay, man, you know what, guys, if we get up a little bit early, we get in the truck, we drive around the mountain, we get to this road, we can actually just loop around this knob. We beat them into this point, but we know they're going to be coming up this ridge line or this draw, so we need to be over here so the thermals are good to catch them. Or if it's, man, we're late, we're not going to be up there in time, let's just head over to the water and the wallow so that way we're parallel from them, so when thermals change. But all of this can really, and this is, you can figure all this out the first year in a hunt area. If you pay attention to reading all this sign, you can figure all this out pretty dang quick. So now we did talk about technology, the trail cameras, GPS mapping, like Onyx, base maps, everything like that. The other thing too is weather apps. I don't know how many of you guys check your weather when you're on your hunts. We're constantly looking at weather, barometric pressure, and all kinds of stuff. All that information can basically just tell, where you're at. The other thing too, this kind of had social media intel. I left it in there. It's more like other hunters that you run into in your area. Best piece of advice I can tell you guys, if you do run into anybody, you are the worst elk hunter on the earth, because they will most definitely like to brag about how good they are and what they're getting into, and they will divulge so much information to you if you play coy dog. And I know we've talked about that one before.
Yeah.
So, okay. There's a little bit more stuff here, but we'll just leave. Oh, we're going to hit this one real quick. over analyzing versus under analyzing. So I threw this one in here just because I don't want you guys to get paralysis by analysis, meaning you're so focused on the sign that you forget to actually hunt. So don't overthink it. You can do stuff leading up to the season, like your bull track, setting your boot tracks, watching how it changes over time, to age the tracks. But also too, it really doesn't take that long. If you guys just go back and read through this, nice thing is you guys will have this that you can go back and reference to help. So it's all of a sudden it's going to be like, okay, yep, single tracks, we're walking, normal gait, travel corridor, they're moving, yep, there's some rubs. Okay, now it's meandering, bang, bedding area. But it could be that you're in an area with high predators and it's like, okay, they're not in this bedding area today. They're going to be in a different bedding area. Mark it on your Onyx, mark it on whatever you are, bedding area, mark the travel corridor, mark all that information. Because remember, I said, here we've got a lot of elk that are usually in a 3 to 5 day cycle. So usually the first couple of days of the season, we're trying to figure out where at in the cycle they're at. And then all of a sudden we know, okay, based on years past, it's been bed area A, bed area B, bed area C, then back to A. Oh, they're at B today, good chance they're going to go C tomorrow. And then all of a sudden, then they're in their normal pattern. And that's why you guys have heard me talk about we very rarely hunt the same place 2 days in a row, just so we can keep them in those normal patterns. It just helps us find elk easier and faster. So the other thing
How
too,
much,
oh, go
how
ahead.
much does hunting pressure bumping them around change that?
It can, but that's actually where now all of a sudden, with the information that you've done, you can look at the maps and start looking for escape routes. So if pressure does hit, where are they going to escape to, and where's the good chance that they're going to go to? So now there's a good chance that they'll come back, depending on how hard they're bumped, coming back into that area that they were in 3 to 5 days. But if you're on a 10-day hunt and that's all you got, or a week-long hunt, you don't have time to wait for 3 to 5 days for them to come back. You've got to figure out where they went to. So pressure can absolutely push them to the next. But understanding your area and reading the sign and knowing where they went to, because it could be you get into your bedding area and you find that those turn up tracks from running.
Mhm.
Okay, now we're going to start, but oh man, I've aged this. This happened 2 days ago because I was over hunting another part. Okay, 2 days ago they got bumped out of this area. Was it a bear? Was it a wolf? Was it another hunter? Who knows? But we're just going to assume. But we're going to get on these running tracks and we're going to track them. We're going to follow them. Okay, they're done running. They're meandering. They're heading somewhere. I'm going to look at Onyx real quick. Okay, oh, yep, I think they're heading up here. I'm still going to follow the tracks, but I'm still also just going to keep in mind where I think they're going. The other thing too, if it gets down to it, your gut instinct, if that little voice inside you is telling you and talking to you, follow it. That little voice will lead us to a lot of really good places. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, thoughts?
I've got this is off the beaten path of what we're talking about, but I just got over the technology that a sight light on your bow is now you can get ones that are chargeable. Okay. So then I found an app for your phone that finds blood. Have you seen
Oh,
that?
did
Have you,
you?
have you seen that?
Did you?
They said that thing found blood. Yeah, you got it. It found blood in the rain after a half inch of rain.
It's
Found blood
called it's
on the
called
rock.
track
Yeah.
in trail
Yeah.
hunting and maps.
Do you have to pay for that or is it free?
The tracking portion you do have to pay.
It's like $29 a year, right?
It's like 20 or 30 bucks a year.
Yeah,
Yes.
track and trail. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And it shows you wind direction and all that stuff.
Yes.
I just
So
because I put it in, I did it and I had a scab on my leg, and it picked that scab up like right now. And it changes. You can change the color on it from like was it yellow and green or something in case you're colorblind.
yeah, you do have some different settings on it. But yeah, it is, technology, it's tracking, not not a bad tool to have in the arsenal. I mean,
Right.
anytime you can
Help yourself out if you can't find
learn
it.
and well, I was going to say anytime you can learn and expand on your mountain skills,
Yeah,
that's the best thing to do.
that thing vibrates in your hand when it finds it.
Yeah, just don't
Just,
want to rely too much on technology
geez,
because batteries,
I know. I just got over, like I said,
electronics.
just got over the thing of the sight light chargeable
But
light.
obviously, yeah, Jim, I thought that was pretty cool because it's on my phone. I haven't paid the subscription yet.
I
So
haven't paid for it yet either. I just saw it and downloaded it. I'm like, what?
I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna test it this fall. So,
Yeah.
but of course, everybody's gonna make perfect heart shots that, those bulls are only gonna go 30, 40 yards and fall
For
over.
sure, of
You're not really
course.
gonna have to track.
You don't
So,
need it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it said it found dried blood on a rock or a stick, like, and it found it.
Yeah,
Right.
watching. I can't even remember. I think it was. I don't remember who was it. Tim Wells.
Yeah, I read the article in the latest bow hunter was talking about it.
Okay.
And he went out and put blood down from some deer, and his buddy went out and tracked it with the phone all the way to what he did.
Yeah.
And then it rained a half inch that night, and it found the blood the next day too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, okay, back on topic.
Right. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Thanks for sharing.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I had forgot all about it, so I would not have mentioned it until it dawned on me a couple of weeks down the road, and it's like, dang it, I was going to tell everybody. So, oh, I'm actually testing something else. So,
What is that?
Like a knock.
Who knows?
Oh, Knox. Knox. Okay.
I am joining the lighted knock crew.
Oh,
Gonna try.
Welcome to the club.
What's that?
Welcome to the club.
Well, I've been looking at a lot of brands, and this one kind of popped up, and just thought, okay, I'm gonna test it. Of course, I screwed up, and the first time I ordered it for 206 diameter, and that 206 doesn't work on a 166, so I had to return that and order another one. And I don't know, I'll get this shit figured out one of these days. This equipment stuff's so confusing. So,
mm, yeah.
Have you tried Knox yet?
have I tried what?
The Knox?
No, I haven't. They just showed up. So Liz and I are heading up Saturday to film a bunch of videos and do some shooting and do some playing and picking of huckleberries and all that kind of stuff. So
Cool.
I'll see how they work Saturday.
What brand that you're looking at?
They are Neeps, Noops, Neaup.
Hmm.
So
That
if
look familiar. Remember me sending you that?
yes, yep.
Oops, there we go. No, I
What
can't
was
get
that?
the
Two
glare
years?
to go
Two,
away.
2 years
Oh,
ago.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
For the
I'd
others of you guys
set
that
the
don't know, his trail camera caught his
oh,
knock arrow.
I'd set the camera up, and then 2 days, 3 days later, we were back in the same area, and I'm sitting there and hit that elk. And the first guy showed up, and he's asking how, when, where, what point, and I started pointing and stuff, and I looked up and I went, the camera. I forgot about the camera. And so Ty opened it up, scanned through, and boy, there it was, a video.
Hmm,
That was pretty cool.
that was cool.
And you still shot it into a picture. That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
all right, gentlemen. that is all I got for you tonight. There is a little bit more on those. If you guys do want to read further into those, it's just kind of some more talking points and just kind of bringing some things kind of together a little bit. But that is it in a nutshell for tracking. So, next question. How do you guys feel about actually turning that into a video to throw into the course under elk sign and that kind of stuff? Because I don't think we have any videos in under elk sign right now.
I think it'd be
That would
good.
be a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I will do that then. So, all right, guys. That's it. So, as always, keep calling, keep practicing. More importantly, though, have fun. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks on the next episode of Wapiti Wednesday Live Q&A. Good
Thanks a
night,
lot, Mike.
Very good. Good night.
Good.
Thank you.